Hello everyone, this is Mr. Jackson, and today we're going to be moving forward with our Concept 3 notes, where we're going into Part 3B. We're going to talk about some key anatomical terminology, what is meant by anatomical position, and how to know that we're in there as a universal reference point to describe anatomy, and then we're going to go into some directional terms as well. So let's get right into it. When I'm referring to anatomical position, you can see this over on the right side of this slide. This is where a person is going to be standing up with feet slightly apart and arms at their sides. Some other key components to this are that we are keeping our toes pointed straight and that our arms are fixated so that our palms are facing forward towards a person that would be observing, okay? So this is that standard position. It's going to be used as a reference point when using directional terminology so that we all are using the same language and referring to the same starting position, okay? Also important to note, the right and left descriptors are going to be for the person we're describing. It's from their perspective, not ours. So whereas I might be looking at this and I could describe the left and the right as I see it, this is still not that person's left and right. It is the opposite, right? It is their right arm and their left arm. And so if I'm referring to left or right side of the body, remember that it's always from their perspective, okay? And we have some key regional terms. These are very general. We have our axial region, which is circled here in green. This is referring to the head, the neck, and the trunk. Okay, so this is, it says think about what is off the main axis of the body, right? So head, neck, and trunk in this main axis or axial region, okay? And then the other general region would be our appendicular, okay? This is where we have our appendages, like your limbs, your arms, and your legs that are attached to that axis or that axial region. Okay, so again, axial is head, neck, and trunk. Appendicular refers to everything from the shoulder down or from the hip down. And now we want to get into some key directional terms. Okay, now as we go through this, anything that is highlighted is a way in which we'll use it. Okay, so for this first one, if I ever am describing something as superior to or cranial, that is going to mean that it's towards the upper part of the body or it's above something. So I could say, for example, that the chin is superior to the abdomen. So because it is found above the abdomen, I can say the chin is superior to. And the opposite of that would be inferior or caudal. This is where we're saying it's away from the upper part, it's towards the lower part of the body, or it's just simply below something else, right? So I could say that the knees are inferior to the navel, okay? So because the knees are located towards the lower portion of the body or below, that is an appropriate way to describe these two things relative to each other. So remember, superior is above, inferior is below. And then if we have a side view of this person, we can have two more directional terms. We could use anterior or ventral, right? So easy way to remember this. Anterior, like if we see two antennas, we could imagine those would be on the front side. Or ventral, because everything that we use to ventilate is on the front side. So anterior or ventral, toward or at the front of the body, or it's in front of something. Okay? The chin is anterior to the spine because that chin is further forward than the spine. Posterior is the opposite. We could also use dorsal, like a dorsal fin of a dolphin. Posterior is towards the back or behind something. So I could say that the spine is posterior to the heart because it's located closer to the person's back side. We have three new terms. So again, we're looking from a front view here. This is going to be medial. Medial is toward or directly at the middle or midline of the body. So if I cut this section into two left and right halves, this is referring to being towards that division, towards the middle and or on the inner side of. So I could say that the heart is medial to the arm. Okay, I have to go closer to the midline in order to get to the heart, so the heart is medial to the arm. The opposite of this would be lateral, right? So lateral is away from that midline. It's towards the outside of the body. And so away from the midline, I could say that the arms are lateral to the chest, okay? And we will also have the term intermediate. This just means that it's something in between. So if I'm describing a region in between, let's say maybe the heart and the arm, I could say that the chest is intermediate to the heart and the arm. And that would tell me it's in between those two things. This is really good to have, proximal and distal, okay? So whenever I'm referring to something proximal, I'm saying that this is closer to the point where a limb attaches to the body trunk. So this is closer to those axial regions, right? So the body trunk being the axial region. So if I'm describing two things relative to each other, I could say that the elbow is proximal to the wrist. It is closer in proximity to where the arm attaches to the trunk, okay? So you could think of the attachment points here as the shoulder or the hip. So anything proximal to is going to be closer to that trunk, okay? So the elbow is proximal to the wrist. Distal is more distant, so farther from the point where that limb attaches. So I could say that the toes all the way down here on the lower extremity are distal to the knee because they're further from or have more distance away from where the appendage actually attaches to the trunk, okay? So it's further away from the hip, the same way that the wrist is distal to the elbow. And we've got superficial or deep, okay? So superficial is more externalized, right? It's closer or toward the body's surface, right? So that outer protective boundary being the skin would be superficial to the bones because those bones are more interior structures than the outer skin, okay? So the skin is superficial or external to the bones, whereas deep would mean that it's more away from the body surface towards that body core. So I could say that the heart is deep to the rib cage because I know that the heart anatomically is within that rib cage, right? So the rib cage is superficial to the heart is deep to the rib cage. And that is actually going to complete our discussion of our anatomical position, that universal reference point, and our directional terms that are absolutely essential to know. We're going to have several practice activities with this, and the next big thing that we're going to do, it's not going to be in this format, but it's going to be an activity where we break down more specific regional terms, right? So within those axial regions and within those appendicular regions, we have very specific terminology to refer to very specific areas of the body. And so we're going to get right into that right after these guided notes. So we'll see you at the next one.